So this is unusual because usually I do just either minor or no spoilers and then a full-on spoiler review. But this one I think I had to do a complete no spoilers, and here I will do only minor spoilers, and that is it. And I will try to keep it still very vague because I'm sure a lot of people are on the fence where they've heard a lot of good things and a lot of bad things about Scream. Giving too much away, let me give the broad structure and so people can make a more informed choices. Because I would say the trailers are very misleading and some of the reviews are misleading, especially those giving it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. Again, there's no mathematical formula with these things, but yeah, saying this is a perfect film is simply not true. I caught, looking back on it, a lot of continuity mistakes, a lot of editing errors. Plot holes were kind of like here and there, but there were definitely a lot of places they could have improved things, or music or sound could have been improved a little bit. So there were a lot of areas to improve upon, no doubt about it. I wouldn't frankly trust people giving this a 10 out of 10. I think they're being a little too enthusiastic about the good stuff and not really raising questions about the bad stuff. So broadly, what is happening and not happening with Scream 6? Well, it is in New York. It is mainly set in college. And from my own college experience and even teaching at college, it kind of matches up, and in a kind of way it doesn't. It does feel like these kids have way too much free time. Like the amount of free time they have is probably not realistic. But some of the things they did with like the roommates, yes, that's realistic. It could happen. So that I think was fine. Yes, the beginning part is probably the strongest. I'd even say it's probably the strongest of the Scream franchise. It was really good. It was really, really good. It's very excellent. Very good fake outs. I think they took time with it. You will be a little frustrated because ultimately it wasn't part of the main story, but I think as a piece, it made sense, and it does link up to the main plot in a clever way. So the beginning was very strong. I will say there are multiple Ghostface killers. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler because that's pretty obvious. You can't just do this with one killer. They do give fairly good clues at the beginning, but I would say about 30 minutes in, if you're paying attention, you'll probably guess who one of the main killers is. It's going to be very obvious who one of the killers is. And the acting by that person was good. But I would say when we do the revelation and the person has to give away the game and explain the motivations, that was very flat. The acting was very hyperbolic. It was very melodramatic. I didn't like it. I didn't believe it. And the actions of the killers are sometimes puzzling. Like their stabbing motions don't make sense. It's a very brutal film. So that brutality, if you like that kind of stuff, is shown. It is consistent, but the Ghostface style doesn't make a whole lot of sense sometimes. Like the Ghostface kill will directly do stabbing motions. Sometimes they are lethal. Sometimes they're not lethal. I mean, we're talking like 2 stabs will kill someone in some cases, but in other cases, they just keep stabbing someone. Doesn't seem to affect them. And in one case, it was pretty alarming. Like someone is injured right to the stomach. A couple of hours later in the story, they're fine. They're not even hurt. They're not even acting like they're hurt. So that was a little frustrating. Also, with Courtney Cox, I do think they did an okay job with Gail. A lot of people do like her, but I don't know. The way she is reacting after Dewey died, it just didn't line up with me. That was a little weird, and they are connecting this to Scream 2022. I think it could have done better. I do think that could have been done better in bridging the 2 films, but a lot of it did make sense, but Gail in particular, I don't think made sense. She just is acting very radically different from before. They do explain why Sydney is gone. Frankly, that created more problems for me, but it is what it is. So the legacy characters were handled, I think, fine. It was adequate, but it could have been done a lot better with the legacy characters, so that was a little weird. In terms of the core, for the most part, it's pretty strong. Make fun of some political correctness at the end, and I think that's very much in tune with Scream, so I thought it was pretty funny. But I would say Mindy herself was pretty annoying. Her dialogue is very, very annoying in many places. So if you are going to watch this in theaters, I would say try to watch it in a place that the sound will be lower, so you can just, basically cover your ears, because a lot of the dialogue is pretty awful in many scenes. So it's a very, very mixed bag. I do think the good stuff may justify paying for the ticket, but you have to check your budget. I'd say this is a film worth about $7, $8, $9, but if you're paying $30 to $50, you may be paying too much.